Okay, and hi, Anne-Marrie. Thank you so much for joining me for this interview. I am Nicole Talarico, as you know, and we are really going to spend the next little while having a chat about really your professional roles as family daycare educators. So I have a series of questions that I know you have seen, but we'll just go through and have a bit of a chat so that we can gather some really insightful information to help all the fellow family daycare educators out there gain a little bit of insight into, I guess, attachment and relationships and what that actually looks like in practice. So I might just quickly hand over to you, Anne-Marrie, to give a little bit of an intro of your role.
For me, I think it's supporting not only the child, the families.
Yeah,
I think
absolutely.
that's my role. Every child that comes into my house is actually, to me, part of my family.
Hmm.
And I like to build that relationship with them. But I
Right.
also like to make sure that there's boundaries set so that, families know, you know, exactly how far they can sort of push things, because sometimes you do have families that will take you for granted and try and I guess overstep the
Sure. So
role
are
and
you
forget
saying
that
like a
you're
little bit
offering a
of
service.
navigating that professional, even
Yeah,
though
yeah.
it's in your
And
home, there's still a duty of care with ethical responsibilities and professional standards
that's
that we
right.
need to
Yeah.
uphold. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
No, that's
Yeah.
exactly right. Yeah.
Yeah. Fantastic. Thank you, Anne-Marrie. And Kay.
Hi,
Hi.
I'm Kate, as you know, and I run my family daycare under IDFS, which is
Uh-huh.
Grow Family Daycare.
Fantastic.
Yeah,
Great. Thank you so much. And Kay, how long have you been a family daycare educator?
I'm in my 15th year.
Oh my goodness, amazing. You
Yeah,
must love it very much. And I'm pretty sure
I
from that
do.
amount of years, you have so many families that have
Yes.
been part of your family daycare. And what about you, Anne-Marrie? How long have you been an educator for?
Um, I've been an educator for about 20 years.
Mm.
So,
Amazing.
and
And
I
always
do
in family daycare?
I actually had a year doing playgroup facilitator
Wow.
for a scheme, but
Uh-huh.
no, family daycare is exactly where I like to be.
And
So on the
again,
ground with the children.
amazing. So many wonderful memories, I'm sure. Okay, let's get into these questions. I'm zooming in from Wurundjeri country and pay my respects to elders past and present. And the beauty of our country means that we can really appreciate what our First Nations people have been doing for this so many thousands of years to preserve and be great custodians of the land. So let's move into question one. Strong relationships support children to navigate encounters in their world. So, how do you actually begin the formation of a meaningful relationship as a family daycare educator if you have new children and families coming to you? What do you do to actually start that process of strong relationship building? I might move over to you, Anne-Marrie, first, if you want to.
For me, I start the process at interview. I try and get as much information as I can about the children, the background, who's important in their life, what
Yeah.
their likes, dislikes are, and just try and start the foundation of it at interview to get as much information as I can to
Yeah.
support them when they do start.
Yeah. And tell me, I'm curious, do you often have interviews in person at your home, or would that be?
Yes, I do.
Yeah, great. So
Yeah,
you
I
actually meet
all
the
my
family?
fam yeah, all my families before they actually start come for an interview, and
Mhm.
I have a startup information book that I go through with my families, and I talk about my fees, and I talk about, when your child's sick and if I'm on holidays, and all the groundwork starts then. And I start forming, a relationship with the families, but also with the child. I always make sure the child comes for that interview.
Right.
And it's there that I sort of start the formation of, developing that relationship, but also setting boundaries with the families so that they know my expectations, and I'm also getting their expectations on the day.
Yeah, so what I'm hearing you say is that really strong foundation of transparency and expectation, and so that way everybody is really clear about the family daycare environment right from the beginning, which is a really good starting point, isn't it?
Yeah, it really is.
Yeah. And how about you, Kay? How does it look for you in your first initial stages of forming strong relationships with families?
Yeah, same as Anne-Marrie. I like to let the parents know what I expect from them, and what they can expect from me.
Yeah.
I like to start with short visits before their actual start date.
Ah, okay, great.
They can come and have a bit of a, get used to me, and me get used to them. And I find that's a little bit easier on a child.
Yeah, and it makes such a difference if the child is actually coming for that interview too, because no doubt families, when they are commencing at an education and care service, such as family daycare, but they want their child's initial response.
Their reaction to me. Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, so very, very important. And Kay, when you say that they might come for short visits, is that throughout a couple of weeks, or what might that look like?
Well, that will depend on the parents, of course, because they might be time poor as well.
Yes, true.
So it might only be a couple of hours each week, just till the starting date. But
and obviously families stay with their child for those initial orientation type visits. Great.
Do we want to go over ratios?
This is very, very true. So you would absolutely want your family staying until their official start date. Absolutely.
Right.
And Anne-Marrie, do you find that families want to spend quite a few visits with you in your environment before they start, or what does that look like?
I haven't really experienced that. Like, if a parent asked, I'd be okay with it and fine with it. But I find that parents tend to just not really. There are parents, I guess, that do, but I haven't experienced it.
Yeah, okay. So they might come for their first
first
time
interview.
With you, stay for a little bit until the child is feeling comfortable for them to go. Okay.
Yeah, I encourage at interview, I tell my parents too that when they do come in to drop their child off, it's better to drop and go, because I've found, like, over the years, for the child, it's harder for them to settle if the parent's there.
Sure. And I think probably because you have laid those strong foundations of knowing what that child likes and their dislikes, you're quite insightful and well informed, ready for when they come, aren't you?
Yes, that's right. Or at least I try to be. So
yeah. So that's actually a beautiful segue into our next question, because I wanted to ask you both how you support families to make the transition in and out of your home as comfortable as possible. So I guess in what you were saying, Anne-Marrie, that first initial contact or ongoingly, the approach that you take with your families is it's best to arrive, drop children off, and go as swiftly as possible to allow them time to settle. Is that right?
Yeah, that's right. And I, like, when they come in, like, I greet them, and I greet the families, and over time they get to know, your routine, and if you're consistent with what you do, you become that safe place, because they see that you're consistent. Just in as simple as, your mannerisms when you open the door, or your behavior and that sort of stuff, so that they become very reassured with that.
Yeah, it's familiar. There's that level of
Yes.
confidence. And how about you, Kay? What does transitioning in and out of your home look like for your families and children?
Yeah, that depends on the child.
Yes.
Yes.
I'm already thinking, I've got a couple of other things I might want to ask here. Yeah. So if it's I know I have 4 children, and I know when they were little, they tended to not want to separate from me. And so I'm just anticipating here, had we been in a family daycare environment, I could almost imagine that I'd almost need you to come out to the car almost. So what is what does this look like for a child that perhaps is struggling to transition from home in their car, or if they're walking? I'm not sure. That's a whole other issue, isn't it? What might that look like then?
I prefer the parent just go.
Yeah.
Because the child tends to settle a lot quicker when mum's not there.
Sure. And so would you tend to greet them at your front door, or would there be?
Yeah, definitely. When they've got to bring them to the gate, because I might have other children here, so I can't take them out to pick another child up. So
absolutely. Okay, interesting.
Using positive language, and talk about the friends who might be there, and
I can imagine that they would. Yes.
I'll just like to be left alone. So
you really start to pick up on those cues.
You know the children, after a little while.
Yeah.
Okay. And so what are some of the key aspects of your home-based education and care setting that support children with that sense of belonging? So you've both talked about being consistent and familiar to the children upon arrival. Once they do come inside, and when you say they tend to settle more quickly once their families have gone and left and gone about their day, what are some of the things that children gravitate to at your home that you know is a real focal point for comfort?
Well, they tend to have access to their own belongings. And, if you do, like if I have a child that's really struggling, I don't mind if a parent sends like a Snuggie or a familiar toy. I do have a rule in place when they're like get to an age that if they bring it, they share it. If they don't want to share it, they put it back in their bag. But just keeping your routine, I think, as familiar as possible. And I tend to have things like within my environment that are there all the time. So, my play kitchen and that sort of stuff. And you'd be the same, wouldn't you be, Kay?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So play kitchen, I can definitely say that's, when I was teaching, that was an area that I absolutely loved. Yeah. So you've both got play kitchens inside?
Yes. Well, mine's inside.
Mine's sort of mobile.
Great. Yeah, in or out.
One day, outside the next,
I love that. And so you find that children naturally will gravitate to that play kitchen?
I think.
Yeah, mine prefer craft.
Okay. Yeah, and so what could that look like at your place? On kitchen table, dining table? What does that look like?
I have a small child's table. So
okay. And
they can just help themselves to, scissors, pencils, glue.
Fabulous.
Yeah, lots of little crafty things, stickers, lots of stickers.
Oh, yes. And I'm sure some of those stickers end up on the body too, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Definitely.
And anything, what else other than our play kitchen in your space, Anne-Marrie, would you say children, what are some of the things that helps to really settle?
I think just coming into the environment and, like once their bags are down and they put their drink bottles down and they just, I have an actual playroom that the children access, and I have it set up all the time with, my play kitchen. There's a book nook, and then I change out the toys, rotate. And so they tend to come in and they'll gravitate to what they want or what they need in that moment. And if someone is really, really upset and they need like a hug and a bit of comfort, well, then, I give them that as well. So they have, they learn to have the environment the way that they need it to be. Yeah.
So I'm hearing you say that there's a bit of agency about what their day can look like in terms of the play provisions that are available. If it's more of a quiet reading nook, there's an option for that. So there's choice about the resources that they feel like they might want to commence playing with. Yeah. And is that
Definitely.
the same? Yeah, when you say they like the craft at your place, Kay?
But they might go down and play with the babies, or the boys will dinosaurs.
So what I'm hearing there is choice and agency is certainly something to help children settle. And what about throughout the day? Oh, actually, I did want to go back to Anne-Marrie, if I can. When you said that when they put their bag and their drink bottle down, is there a particular place that they store those things so then they know that that's where their personal belongings might be? Yeah.
So their bags, I have, just as they walk through the door, they sit all their bags along there, and then I have a child-sized table that they put all their drink bottles on, and they just come back and forth and actually, get their water whenever they want, and I just fill it up when needed, and so they have access to that all the time.
Yeah, so I think that's quite important, isn't it? We've got accessibility to resources, but we've also got children being able to access their drink bottles without having to ask you. Yeah. And is that the same at your house too, Kay? Children can access drink when they need. It's important, isn't it, that accessibility? We know that's important for children to be able to have some autonomy around those things.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah, great. So what about throughout the day? So obviously there might be children that are needing either a sleep or a rest or a downtime. And so what do those kind of routine times look like? Whether it be eating, resting. Do you do that as a whole group, or is it more needs based?
I think it depends on the ages of the children. So if you've got a mixture of older children and younger children, then you do it more on a needs base. But if it's all the same age group, I tend to do it that we all eat together, then we all have rest time together, and do it that way. And at the moment I have a mixed group. So some of my babies will be eating while the rest are playing, and then some are sleeping while the rest are eating, and you just work it out as you go, and just make sure, I just try and make sure all their needs are met all at once.
Yeah, and so I'm really hearing that level of attunement from you and that flexibility with adapting your environment according to what those needs are that you're noticing for the children. Would I be right in saying that?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
And what do routines look like in your space, Kay?
Yeah, at the moment I'm pretty lucky. I've got a pretty good age group. They're all about the same.
Okay.
So, we eat together and we rest together, and
I'm liking. I like that whole notion of having that connection to each other in the group. I would imagine that would be quite comforting for children.
They're all doing the same thing, so
and they're resting together. And for many children that are not as keen for having a moment to wind down, knowing that their peers are doing that can sometimes be quite helpful.
Well, the older ones have a choice. They can read a book. They don't have to sleep. No one has to sleep.
No, and I love that. I love it that the children get a say about what that downtime looks like.
As long as it's a quiet thing.
Yes, because it is a long day, and I think that is the beauty of being in a smaller environment like yours. It's very home-like, isn't it?
It is,
yeah,
very much so.
Yeah. So tell me, when children are perhaps dysregulated, um, can you recall some times when children support each other with moments of distress or dysregulation? Like, can you give me some insight in what that might look like? Because I'm getting the idea here that you've got a very close-knit small community in your family daycare environment. So no doubt children become very familiar with each other. Does that help when children are experiencing moments where they might need some comfort or care?
They
Oh,
tend to actually sort of know and cue on to what each other needs. So sometimes you might get a child that, you know, pats another child's back and says, "Are you okay?" Or they might just leave them because they know that at that time they need a bit of space. They don't always, you know, go up and comfort, but they certainly can sort of gauge to a degree what each child needs.
Yeah, so I'm
That's
hearing you
around them
saying,
in their environment.
yeah, they tend to cue into what those regulatory patterns almost look like. And
Yes.
amping down that stress response, they're already aware of where
yeah.
that fear might be at.
Yeah.
Is that the same for you, Kay?
Well, I think it's just trying to help the children understand why that child might be having these feelings, you know, acknowledging and validating those feelings.
Yeah.
And just modeling calm behaviour.
Yeah, I think the environments that you're in, and they certainly give that, you know, many opportunities to be able to really notice and practice responsive caregiving to each other.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, I love hearing that. That's fantastic. Tell me, when we're talking about that sense of felt safety and connection and belonging and care, you know, all of this comes down to really strong relationships and attachment. So, and we know that that is super important for children to be able to feel comfortable to challenge themselves and learn in their environments. But I'm curious to know what each of you, so I might start with you, Kay. What's one thing that you do really well that lets children know that they can trust you as a safe person?
Well, I don't know if it's something they can trust me as a safe person, but I believe in giving them I can confidence.
Yeah.
Like knowing that if they fail at something, try again.
Yeah.
It doesn't hurt to make a mistake. No, you know, no one gets into trouble for making a mistake in their art. Like
yeah. So I'm hearing you say then that you are reliable, I guess. No matter what the outcome of what they're doing, what they're trying, they know that you're there to support them. Would that be fair?
Definitely, yeah. Yeah, letting them explore new techniques, and you know, without worrying they're going to do something wrong.
Yeah,
it builds resilience.
Yeah.
Like,
I can hear
everybody fails,
and I love that. That building that I can attitude is, you know, such an important thing for children in the ages that we are working with our children in, you know, early childhood. So such an important attitude, I guess, for their caregiver to have, for their educators to have.
You know, you challenge and support them to engage in and persevere at the tasks and their play. You know, just keep
absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. And what about you, Anne-Marrie? What's something that you do that you know is something that tells children that you are a safe and trusted caregiver? Oh, not caregiver. We're educators, aren't we? We do the care and the professional caregiving, which is so important. And I think that they really value you as the teacher in your home. So what does that look like? What's something that you do?
I think for me it's that I'm consistent and I'm very transparent, and the children know that there's boundaries, and they also know, like, and I'm predictable, and and they get the same me every day. And I think that in my environment is what, you know, makes them feel safe. They have that, you know, okay, well, we know what's going to happen next. There's no, you know, we have the routine, and I work it around the children, and so they have that, and they have the nurturing side of me as well. So I think that's, you know, what I sort of would say would be, you know, something that I give all my family.
They can rely on you. They know that you're a reliable person in their lives when they come to family daycare. I love that. And I think that transparency is so important too. And like you said, your routine is based on children's needs, but that transparency to navigate through any adjustments and changes according to their needs, I imagine, is something that they have. And Kay, you're the same, where they really can rely on you to assist them with what's happening next.
That's right.
What they would like to happen next. That consistent person with them throughout the day.
Yeah, I think it's really important for them to have that too, because when families come in, they don't always have, you know, consistency. Like when mum and dad are working and they're busy, and, you know, they don't always have that consistent person. So for educators, we become that consistent person in that child's life.
Yeah, you might be the only person that is there for that long duration of time. A given day, for that many hours at a time. Yeah,
that's right.
Yeah, so important. Well, look, I have loved getting to know what your environments are like. They sound like, well, I'm not surprised with the years of being family daycarers. You know, you have been educators in this part of our sector for so many years, and so I'm not surprised that you were able. We could probably chat all night about all of these things that you do. So I wanted to thank you both very much for spending time with me to really talk about what strong, respectful relationships look like for children and families in your spaces. And all I can say is what lucky children and families that spend time with you. So thank you so much.
Oh, well, thank you.
I feel that I have really nice families too, so I'm pretty lucky.
Yeah, I totally agree.
Yeah.
So wonderful.